Welcome to the new session that is about the latest HRP skills and abilities. Since you're doing this professional diploma in A to Z HR skills, you have to learn some of the human resource planning skills and abilities. So, in this session, you will learn HRP skills, which I refer to human resource planning. So you learn some of the roles, you will learn some of the soft HRP skills, hard HRP skills, forecasting, and then you will see some of the skills that are being used by the top managers in today's modern organizations. So let's explore what is in this session. So HR planning and skills in HR context. So we got to learn about HRP roles. Now, you as an HR person, as an HR manager, you're supposed to determine, facilitate the levels and types of recruitment. So, what kind of skills you need for that purpose? The skills are required are the identification of the talent, the requirement of the talent, the requirement of the employment in the organization. So it's not about that most of the time top management keep looking for you and asking you and planning that you should find out employees, you should find out the recruitment opportunities and everything before they ask you. You got to work, you keep working. You have to analyze your organization, you have to see internal resources, you have to see the talent of the people within the organization. You try to evaluate labor market, you try to evaluate the turnover, you try to learn some of the demands, work supply. You have to analyze what's happening in the outside of the organization. What are those things that top companies are looking for, and you compare your organization with the other organizations. So you have to learn such type of skills which are helping the organization to attract good recruitment, to make people stay in the company, and you have to work as per the instructions from the top management. So you got to determine, facilitate the levels and types of recruitment. So in this one, you just learned, you just have to focus on this, that there might be variety of resources, varied resources and varied activities of HR planning. But if we start from the determine and facilitate the levels, that will help us what organization is actually looking for, and that will give us the second point. We have to assess the current levels and attributes of staffing, why you want to hire people. Now this is the thing that is specifically for human resource professionals and human resource um, the specialists in the modern organizations. The second point which I'm talking about is really important one, to assess current levels and attributes of staffing. What is the attitude of your current staff? What is the abilities? I mean, what are the abilities of your current staff? What is the aptitude of the current staff? What are current staff? What are the abilities? What are the knowledge? What are the skills they do possess? Are you looking for something extra that they should have more skills? Are you looking for something that they need to have some of the training, or you just have found out that these current levels of the current staff is actually not coping up with the requirements of the company? So you as an HR person learning how to collect that information, how to know that level when you try to evaluate external sources, when you try to evaluate the current trends, prevailing trends of the modern organizations in that vicinity where you operate, in that country where you operate, in that region where you operating. All of those information things, all of those evaluations will help you to understand what are the current levels and what are the current attributes of your staff, and what attributes you're looking for to induct in your company. So this is some of these skills that most of the HR people don't have. For example, in some of the companies they are only having the documentation, they just have the documentation, and they are just keeping the data of the employees and dealing with them, how many people required and everything. But there are some other skills which you have to learn, is that the attributes of those employees, the current levels of those employees, the knowledge, the cases, the KPIs of your company. How do you match the attributes of your current staff with the current objectives of the company? These are the skills which you have to learn and you have to apply in your company. And within this second point, if you go point number 3, you will analyze to assess whether the redeployment can be used or downsizing can be used. Now, downsizing is not required, redeployment is not required, or may be required. On what basis you can say it is required? On what basis you can say it's not required? Maybe you cannot afford to hire a person who is having very good experience, might be very expensive for that company, but that doesn't mean that you just back off and sit that because you can't afford, you can't continue. So this redeployment is something that those employees who are retired, because they've been in your company for many years and they have such a huge experience, they know companies ifs and buts, they know companies all activities. So such employees, if they are being redeployed, would be a good idea. And they might not be more expensive, because at the time when they were full-time employees, they've been paid highly. Now they're redeployment, they're not being paid highly. They are just consultant, because you need the opinions of those all employees. So that is how you assess whether the redeployment can be used. And what you're learning now in this particular slide is that the redeployment should be done, should not be done. As I said, that if you can't afford to hire key employees from outside, so can you consider redeployment? Or you consider downsizing because your company is not getting that all profits? What you will do? So you have to go with the downsizing, or you don't want to go with the downsizing. So what you will do? So these are little skills, but these are really important one in the HR planning. And if the next one which you see, which I have just colored font size to identify the need for training and development. Here quite a few times in the previous sessions we also talked about that if you cannot afford to redeployment, if you cannot afford hire people from outside, can you consider to give the training to the current employees, equip equip them with the knowledge or with these skills that your company is looking for, and you as an HR person supposed to understand what are the modern trends, what are the modern skills, what are the modern information that should be given to those all employees. So you can identify, you see current levels, you see redeployment possibility or downsizing. If downsizing happens, what you will do? Are you really looking for to identify the need for training and development? You want to give training to those all people. As somewhere we mentioned that you're not supposed to give training to all people. You're supposed to give training to the people who really been considered that they will be occupying the senior leadership positions in the future, or any important task positions in future, because you actually training them, you're preparing them, you're investing in them so that they can contribute those skills in the development of the organization. And of course, this will help to assess the current employment and organizational costs that we talk about in point number third, second and third, and also fourth one we talked about. The organizational cost. If your company can afford, definitely you got to hire people, because if you hire good people going to give you good business. But if you are not hiring good people, is there any possibility that you can redeploy consideration, or maybe you can consider to give them training? You develop employees in that way. So that's also a possibility. All of such roles which I have just talked about are the modern skills. These are the latest skills that you have to learn. Technically, these are very simple points, very open and easy points. But within that, what the things we have just discussed, things which I have just mentioned, All of those things, if you're really good into them all, so it means you have the modern HR planning skills. And there are two other, the hard and soft HRP. When we talk about soft human resource planning, that actually involves the assessment of four categories, defining where your company right now. I mean, it's always a positive that if you want to talk about where your company right now, where your company right now, it means what's your company's a mission statement of that company, and defining where you want to be in future. That's a vision of the company, where it wanna to be in the future. I mean, how it would be, and where you thought about that you'll be expanding your organization, you thought about that you will launch new projects, you thought about you will launch new products, you thought about something else you will do in your company, you are going to expand, or you're going to expand to another country, you're going to expand the same region. What your company going to be in future, what have you thought about? So if you connect the HRP roles, under the HRP roles, we have these two categories of soft HRP. And within soft HRP, we are talking about these four categories. As I have just talked about these two, first one is a mission, second one is a vision. Mission, what's your company right now? Because if you know what your company doing right now, what's your position of your company right now? Based on that, capacity which you do have, you can build it on future as well, and then you will see where I want to go. You cannot say I want to go like this and I want to achieve these all things. Definitely you will talk about you can achieve based on some rationality, based on some logic, that you do have some people, you do have financial capital, you do have technological capital, you do have intellectual capital, the people we're talking about. Then you can say yes, I want my company to be over there. So then it's possibility. Otherwise, it's not possible that you think that I want to be on the top and then you don't have any resources to reach that top. It's illogical. For that reason, if you want to achieve these two, you have to go with point number third, that what is happening in the external environment, what are the influences, what are the trends of those all companies, what you will do. And in the similar fashion, you will see the formulating plans to implement necessary changes. You have to see, as I just said in the earlier part of this session, that you have to evaluate the external environment, you have to evaluate the external labor market, you have to evaluate the external trends that are happening around you. For that reason, this will help you that accordingly you will formulate some of the plans and you will try to make some of the necessary changes. And if you're really good into that, you can achieve everything. Think about this. Think about this for a couple seconds. When I said that you keep thinking about this one, I was expecting that you think that what good companies have done this or what you have done so far in your career. Has such experience uh, even ever been in your career? Have you seen such experience? Has this experience be part of your professional development? Have you seen that? Some of you might have seen, some of you might have observed this one, but the things which I have just said about the HRP skills, by knowing everything and by knowing the attributes of your employees, and then you know the current situation of your company, and then you know that your company can reach in future based on the resources you do have. So you know what's happening outside, you know what's happening inside, and then you kind of bring change in your company. One of the thing example I want to give you, some of the top companies, let me give you a story of some of the top companies. They always focus on the three things normally. they market analysis, and they see what is their strategy, and then they see what your company can do. So when I say market analysis outside, you just see outside what's happening outside. Then based on that, you make some of the strategies. If your strategy is not working in your company, that you want ideal situations, you have just brainstormed, got opinions from your employees, got opinion from your own people, got opinion yourself as the HR expert. But how you think that this strategy will work out fine, that's the reason you will bring some of the changes. And normally when I say strategy, it means, market analysis, and you see customers, you see competitors. And if you see where customers are going, where competitors are, what competitors are doing, why your customers consider to go to your competitor, what is the competency level? And if you know, and if you understand some of the top things what your competitor is doing, so you got to come back to your company and make some of the changes. And those changes are going to be the changes that you've been looking for. And such are the things that will give you some of the human resource planning skills that we're talking about. So we have talked about the human resource planning roles. The first thing, the skills which you have learned, and within that we got soft HRP. Now let's move and see hard HRP. Hard HRP is actually forecasting about number of employees you need. You have to see your internal strength, and you see what are the external HR resources. And this is what I've been talking about, that how current employees are being utilized. You have to monitor and review. The hard HRP is reconciling HR plans with actual practices. So this rational one, that the current practices you do have, you can reconcile HR plans with that. So you got to make the analysis like that way. So uh, in the soft HRP, you have to check what your company is, and the hard HRP, you have to see what future things you can forecast for your company's benefits. And that might be in the context of number of employees you needed, and the trends, the market pressures, and all of those things you will consider that. Of course, you come back to have this monitoring process. You see that how current employees are being utilized. There might be various of things, but these are the basic things which I just told you. As the HR professional, so you have to learn these basic skills in your company. So if you're working in the organization, or you are in the human resources department, please consider the soft HRP, and of course in hard HRP, where you will just keep forecasting what things will happen. Now, these are some of these skills and abilities. These are the latest skills and abilities you have to learn. Learn from mistakes immediately. How can you learn from mistakes immediately? See what went wrong. Why went wrong? What were the reasons? What were the best things? What impacted that process? One of the latest skill you have to learn is learn from your own mistakes. You will be wise. But if you learn from others' mistakes, you're gonna be genius employee in the company. Don't always look for your own mistakes. Definitely you have to look for your own mistakes. You have to keep improving that every time. For example, you had a bad decision, you had a bad hiring process, and you had lost one of the key employee because of something in your company, and you did not have proper exit interviews from the people, you didn't have proper attitude towards employees, your employees are not having proper attitude to your company. What went wrong? Was it from your side? Was it from company side? Was it from your financial constraints? Those mistakes you keep writing down and then see what things you can improve. This is what, when you are in the role, when you are having some leadership role or authority role. But if you're not having this authority role, you observe. For example, you read case studies of those all companies around the world. You see what went wrong with this company, why this was a good company and suddenly fell down. What were the reasons for that? Why employees are leaving from other companies? So you're learning from other, or maybe from other departments. You are in one department, or you're just an employee. You have to see other departments how they're working. So if you've seen other departments, people, having such mistakes, so you learn from that, that mistake will not be repeated in your company or in your department. So you learn from your own mistakes, but also you're learning from others' mistakes so that these things may not happen in your department. One of the top and latest skill, learning from mistakes immediately. Number second, this is a personal plus professional for you. Never let anything overcome you. I mean, do not depend on one person in the company. Imagine the danger is that if that employee leaves, everything will be collapsed. Do you want to have that? Nobody want to have that. You don't want that situation happen to your company. So what you're supposed to do? So you keep rotating employees. Keep preparing employees. If you think somebody is very good, attach 2 3 people as a mentoring process. Learning from them. So you always have an eye on some of the employees. Keep those eyes on some of the employees, that they keep learning. If somebody leaves, those people can take up those positions so that your business continues as usual. So never let anything overcome you. This is one thing. The other thing is that, of course, never let anything overcome you about that. People don't follow policies, something you have to make people follow policies. I mean, it's not you just ignore everything that's over you because you think that people will not follow. You have to make them to follow that, by giving them proper orientation, giving them proper training, and all that. And the third one, pick a difficult boss, wonderful exposure. If you want to learn something special, you always have to pick a difficult boss. I mean, if you talk about organizations you might have worked about, anybody who picked a difficult boss, who worked with a difficult boss, you actually learned a lot. But if you have very easy boss and he is not asking you to meet deadlines and everything, you're not learning anything. So if you're really in the early stages of your career, always accept challenges, always accept difficult jobs, always pick a difficult boss, always enjoy to work with that difficult boss. When I say difficult boss, I mean the boss who is giving you like threatening deadlines, complete this, you just have to complete all of this stuff on time, and you just running around. If you work like that in a couple of years, you will turn to be the gold, kind of diamond in the organization, because you have seen these things. You got hands-on practice, hands-on experience. So that is the thing that will give you wonderful exposure. So people, they learn that. And never expect any favor from the boss, that he doesn't give you a task, or he doesn't bother you, or doesn't give you deadlines. Over there, you've not learned anything. You always pick a difficult boss and learn those challenging things. Even sometimes your company can't afford to give you training, you learn on your own and accept it. And that's what I'm talking about in point number 4 as well. Accept challenging job, the best experience you will have. And then interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills are really professional ones, and they can get you to the best companies. Teamwork. One of the top interpersonal skill is an ability to listen others. If you so patiently listen to people, people respect it. People give you very positive response. Be good to all people, and all people gonna be good to you. Even then, some people not gonna be good to you. It's okay. You don't lose your own spark. Just be with them. Good aptitude with the best attitude. If you have really skill, you have a great aptitude that must be followed, must be managed with the best positive attitude. People always remember and they will respect you. But if you're having great skills with the wrong attitude, then things will not work. Even you don't have the aptitude and then you are having good aptitude, things will not work maybe. But good aptitude, good skills you do have, and you have very positive attitude as well. You will learn the best skill in your company. So what you're learning right now in this particular slide is that I want you to have learn those skills which we're talking about here, we talked about, but always reflect your personality with the best attitude. Accept things in a pleasant style, accept things positively, be a fair feeling person, maintain your spark, be respectful. These things are really important one in today's organizations. And if you really want to be successful in your life, in professional life, then you have to accept organizational policy and learn it. Whenever you join new organization, you always see what are the new things in that company. So you learn, accept organizational policy. You got some of the difference of opinion, no problem. You can bring to the notice of human resource management, or maybe in any of the department anywhere. You can bring that. If it's open policy, yes, you can. But do not criticize that, because you have joined this organization. When you have joined that, you have all accepted organizational policy. And now is the time for you to learn it and apply it. So these are very different, very basic skills, but these are the top latest skills that can get you to be chosen by the top bosses in the companies. So you're having this professional diploma in A to Z HR skills, but these are the skills, interpersonal skills, personal skills, professional skills that will help you to be good in the company. What you think of these two basic questions? You just joined any organization. What you want to do? So the answer of the first question is you want to learn the policy, you want to accept the boss, and you have to be efficient in the role you have been given. Customer two, you just leaving an organization. What you want to do? Leave with all positive note with the employees. Then you leave it. This world is so small. You never know you're gonna meet these old people again. Always try to leave the organization. Some circumstances can happen. We cannot deny. But can you try that whenever you leave any organization, you leave with the 100% positive note. Even you ignore a couple of things, but leave on a very positive note that people should remember you. Because it might possible the company you're joining right now might contact your company previously where you work, and your reference might get affected. So, in this way, be a smart HR professional, understand human resource planning skills that we have talked about in this session. That's great. By this, we have completed number 12, that is latest HRP skills and abilities. I look forward to seeing you soon in the next session. Thank you very much.